clarity. How do you develop more clarity, and how important this is for everything we know in high performance and everything we know about confidence? Here's what happens. Human beings are a goal-directed species. If we don't have clarity on what we want, if we don't have clarity on who we are, if we don't have clarity on what our intentions are in social relationships, it's unnerving to us. Who's ever felt lost in life? Ever felt lost in life? Well, if you ever felt lost in life, you know that feeling. It's coming from a lack, often of clarity. We'll talk about this. You just don't know who you are, what you're about, what you want anymore. And it's unsettling when you lack clarity. It's really unsettling. You're like, I don't know what I'm about anymore. And this is where midlife crises come in. This is where the difficulties when you get laid off come in, because you don't know what you're supposed to do that month anymore. Or when you retire from the thing and now you don't know what to do with yourself. Or the kids leave the house and your role just changed from parent to, freedom. Something shifted in you and you don't know what to do with this new world anymore. Well, guess what's happening in the world right now at a macro level? The world, the world's in such shifting times that it can feel very uncertain for us. And that lack of clarity of how things are going to turn out can really be unnerving. A lot of your insecurities come from a lack of clarity. A lack of clarity. When we study the most productive people in the world, what we call high performers, their first practice is to seek clarity. They're always asking, what's important to me here? What's the best next right action of integrity? What do I really want? What would feel fulfilling here? They're asking more questions, so they're getting more clarity. Now, what's important about clarity and high performance is clarity is something that it's like knowledge or a goal or an aim, but it's loosely held. What I mean by that is like, okay, that's important to me, but I can be flexible and adaptive as well. It's not this idea that you have total 100% complete certainty and you're total certain all the time. It's like that is a adolescent dream. No, there is no absolute certainty in anything in life, right? And so we have to go, okay, I can have clear direction, or I can be strongly committed to this thing, but lots of people who are absolutely certain about something shifts months later. On a scale of 1 to 10, in the last 60 days, how clear have you been about what you wanted in life? How clear have you been about how you wanted to show up each day? How clear have you been about what you wanted and how you wanted to show up? Did you start the day with some clarity about how you wanted to live that day, show up that day, treat other people that day, serve that day? And it's so simple. I hear it literally tens of thousands of times a month from people who use a high performance planner worldwide. They're just like, oh my God, I started doing this. I did it for 10 days in a row. I've never felt so good. And it's not like, there's, the paper smells a certain way that makes them feel good. That would be a good product idea. No, instead, what happens is they go, oh, I've really been starting the morning asking myself the tough questions of the day, which prepares me for the day. Clarity. So let's think about where sometimes you feel insecure. You're out in the world, you're going to go to that networking function or that party, and you're going to bring your mask. I'm just saying, okay, let's pretend of a different time and era. You're going to go to that party or that networking function. You feel insecure about yourself. Why? Because in your mind, the insecurity in that moment, in that situation of the networking situation or the party is coming from, I don't know who I am in here. I don't know these people and who I'm supposed to be with them. I don't know where to go or where to stand or who to talk to. And so it's unnerving. The insecurity is, I don't know what to do in this situation. Now that type of confidence or lack thereof is something that psychologists call self-efficacy. Self-efficacy is about, I don't know what to do in this situation, That's where the insecurity comes from. Positive self-efficacy means I believe that I know what to do in the situation. I can handle this. Even if I don't know how yet, I believe I can handle this. I have the competence to take this on, as an example. That's positive. But a lot of things in life you don't know how to deal with. You don't have self-efficacy because you don't know how to handle it yet. This is a new party. You don't know anybody in it. It's a new networking event. You've never met any of these people. How do you get more confidence in that? Well, one simple thing you can do is start with clarity. Like, okay, I'm going to go talk to people. What's something I'd love to share about myself with every new person I meet? What's something I'd love to share about myself with every new person I meet? What's something I'd love to share about myself with every new person I meet? Oh, okay, lock that in. Okay, got it. What's one question I could ask every new person I meet? What's one question I could ask every new person I meet? Okay, let me lock that in. Okay, just those two things have been found to dramatically increase people's sense of confidence in social situations. I know what I'm going to share about myself. I have clarity on it. I know what I'm going to ask them. I have clarity on it. Just those two simple things. We're not even yet talking about your childhood dilemmas yet. We're just talking about what to do in a situation. Having a little more clarity in that situation can really help. Can really help. And I know I'm being a little bit teasing and facetious here, but I'm trying to make it entertaining too. And I promise we'll get to some of the heavy stuff too. But I think it's really important. The problem with clarity is it's a double-edged sword. You might have a lot of clarity of beliefs about why you're not a good person. A lot of people, their clarity is, I'm awful, I'm worthless, I'm no good. And they've stacked up all these experiences to strengthen that belief. And their clarity is, well, I'm a jerk, I'm no good, I'm used goods, I'm bad. No one loves me, no one ever will. I don't deserve success, I won't have success. They've locked in, they have certainty and clarity around a negative identity and outcome for themselves. A negative identity, who I am, and outcome, how things are going to turn out. In other words, they view themselves and their future negatively, pessimistically, or harshly. Negatively, pessimistically, or harshly. And so they've got clarity, but they got the wrong kind of clarity. See, confidence requires positive clarity, not negative self-defeating clarity. I know some people, they sure know who they are, and they hate themselves. They're certain about it. You're like, oh, that's not the clarity we're looking for here, right? So clarity is a double-edged sword. If you believe the wrong thing about yourself, that's going to hurt you too. So what's the opposite of that? Well, I'm going to start viewing myself positively. How can we do that? Well, you know what? Maybe each day for the next 10 days, I'm going to write down a strength that I have. Every day, I'm going to start by writing down something good about myself. Literally, for the next 10 days. And if you think this is just fluff out there, this is positive psychology. Write down 10 positive things about yourself every day for the next 10 days. Watch what happens for you. You start shifting your perception of yourself. If we can shift your perception of yourself, because see, your perception of yourself, your clarity of self was established by other people, unless you've done personal development work, right? Most people unconsciously gobbled up everybody else's opinion about themselves. And they're not actually an authentic being because they haven't done the self-reflection, the personal development. So what they are is a collection of everybody else's opinions and desires. They're not a free, autonomous, self-chosen human yet. And it's not, and by the way, I was that too. So if you ever think I'm judging anybody or speaking negatively of the world, you got to understand, I still do the work. I still came from that. So I'm just sharing, that's what happens, right? When we're young and dumb, we wander around and we just, okay, if your mom tells you you're a terrible person, you believe it. If your teacher says you're never going to make it, you believe it. And what has happened is if you feel terrible about yourself, I would love for you to journey within and ask whose opinion shaped that feeling. Write this down. Whose opinion shaped that feeling? Whose opinion is fueling this feeling? If you feel so bad about yourself, who told you to feel that way? Who gave you those labels? Who issued those judgments? And why did you so readily take them? Because you know what? Whatever you accepted in high school is completely irrelevant today, unless in your mind you want to ruminate and recreate high school. Every day is a new day. Every day is a blank page. Every day you can start reshaping yourself. Every day you can start reshaping your identity, recrafting your dreams, changing up your mindset, learning new things. Every day is a great day to grow. You will still be so tired of me saying that. But this is important because if your clarity leads you to feeling bad about it, if you are so confident that you're a jerk, or you're so confident that you're incapable, this is not the kind of confidence we want. We want positive confidence, life-affirming confidence, self-affirming confidence, the kind that says, I know my worth, I believe in my ability to figure things out, I believe in my future, and you deserve that, and so do your kids, so do your loved ones, so does your team. But guess what? For those of you who are struggling with your team, and your team feels disorganized or disengaged, guess what? They might just be lacking some of this, clarity. How can your team confidently execute if they lack the clarity? If they don't know what is going on right now, if they don't know what's coming up right now? It's not easy when you have lots of people or teams or people you serve. I have that same challenge in my business with my team. I wish I could talk to all my people an hour or 5 a day. It's not going to happen, right? So you have to do things when you're around to make people clear about what to work on, what to focus on, who's working on that and this. It's super hard, but with more clarity comes more confidence. With more clarity comes more confidence. So I love you do something simple for yourself. Where in your life do you not feel that you have clarity yet? Because sometimes that might be as simple as, I want to launch this new book, but I don't know how to write a book. Or it might be, I want to make more money on the internets, but I don't know how to do the internets. It might be, you know what? I want to raise, but I don't know how to ask for one. It might be, I sure like to achieve this, pivot, but I don't know which direction to go in. That's just clarity. And so what you need to do is spend time both learning, but most important, here's the important, please listen to me. You must always make sure that you switch gears from learning to deciding quickly. A lot of people, they have clarity on too much. They're overwhelmed with all the things they could do. Anyone overwhelmed out there? A lot of overwhelm comes from overconsumption and too little decision. A lot of overwhelm comes from too much consumption and too little decision. We got to move. We got to decide. We got to go, okay, clarity is strengthened with real decisions. We got to strengthen our clarity with decisions. Many people have clarity of knowledge, but they haven't decided anything yet. Clarity, when it's locked in as a decision, as a pattern, as a discipline, as a commitment, woo, that feels good. That feels good. That's the kind of clarity that we're talking about here today. That kind of clarity write this down. The kind of clarity that is decisive and consistent. The kind of clarity that is decisive and consistent. That's what builds the confidence. The decisive and consistent clarity. Ooh, that's good stuff. I'll give you 3 principles for greater discipline, and then I'll tell you the actual 3 things to do to generate more discipline in such a way that your personal growth grows, that you feel like alive and connected and meaningful and joyous on this journey, because that's what really matters. I mean, discipline sucks unless in some ways the outcome is progress, greater engagement and aliveness of life, and greater success in whatever way you measure that. So the 3 principles of all of discipline comes down to, number 1, mastering your schedule. I know that sounds so boring, but it is so absolutely fundamental to your focus, to your progress, to your health, to everything. It doesn't matter if you say, okay, I only want to schedule one thing today. That's fine with me. I'm not trying to own every hour of your life, but that one thing better be awesome and it better be a needle mover. So scheduling, show up when it's scheduled. And then the third thing, which is most important, is a principle for all of discipline. No discipline happens unless on a real consistent basis, unless you have social connection. All of the research shows the most productive people, the most focused people, the people who are most fulfilled in doing meaningful work have attached a meaning that their focus, intention, their hard work is attached to social connection, meaning I'm going to show up for this because it's going to make me a better mom or parent. I'm going to get healthy so I have more energy for the kids. I am going to do this project so my team and company grows, so we serve more people and we make an impact. It's like the hard work must be attached to impact, but the impact isn't just self, like, oh, I'll get this. It has to have a social connection. Like you have to have a reason to show up over and over and over for others. It's why we always teach in high performance. You have to have a little card that says, who needs me on my A game today? Yeah. Like, I am disciplined because I wouldn't be less disciplined doing a morning show. I'm more disciplined doing a morning show because Jamie's there. She's waiting on the other end. If I don't get there, I feel like a chump. So that's important, you know. There's 3 principles, right? Schedule it, show up, attach social connection. But now here's the things I would do. If you said, Brendon, if you could only be disciplined about 3 things, what would you do? And it's not what you all think. It's totally not what you all think. And this is very much that makes me happy and progress in life. So they're not sexy. The number one thing, if I could give anyone a discipline to always do, on the first of every single month, you do a whole life review. When that calendar hits 1, as in the first of the month, you look at every major area of your life, you score yourself, you ask how you'd like to improve that. And what could you do this month? Because most people never improve their life because they never face their life. Yeah. You have to look at it. So every first of the month, that's for those who are new to us, Growth Day began with, Growth Day actually began because I said, let's do our personal development on the first of the month. So I go live for 2 hours in Growth Day. So if you're not a member, go to growthday.com because I do a full personal development seminar on the first of every single month. Because I feel like if we start the month off, we nail that, we start it with good attitude, energy, but also you're looking into the month and asking, is the way I've scheduled this month going to help me move towards the lifestyle I want or the accomplishment of the major 3 projects I'm working on in my life?
And also, if we don't do this, I feel like it is so easy. And how many people can relate to this, where if you don't do this, all of a sudden you blink and you're like, oh, it's halfway through the month, or, oh, 3 months have gone by. I don't even know how did this even happen, right? Yeah. How many times have we done that? We're like, wait a minute, it's Thanksgiving. Like, wait a minute, it's spring break. And it's like your life flies by in a blur.
This is for those who have the high performance planner, you know this page super well. This is your monthly review section in the high performance planner. And what it does is it makes you look at the 10 major areas of your life, from health to mental, emotional, partner or love, family, friends, mission, experiences, spirit, finances, learning, growth. It helps you reflect on the things you learned in the last month, learn about others, learn about yourself, what you're grateful for, the main priorities coming up, the decisions you needed to make or could make, your monthly review and orienting yourself to your year goals and 3-year goals. Like, if I don't do that on the first of the month, what happens is the middle of the month, what am I doing? I might be showing up, but I'm showing up in a hot mess all the time because I don't have direction. Yeah. So if I could give you anything, start the first of the month, super clear about that month. If that's all you did, I promise you'd be more engaged with your life. Second thing I do, I believe another review is needed every Sunday. So Sunday, do your weekly review and your weekly planning. I don't care if it takes 10 minutes, an hour. I think it's important to go, okay, on Sunday, is this upcoming week? Am I clear about what I want of that? Am I clear about how I can serve? Am I clear about these little slots of time? Do they make sense to me? I mean, just that it can take so fast. So third thing.
Yeah.
All right, listen, if I could give you 3 things to move the needle in your life. Number 1, is a monthly review. On the first of the month, look out for the, and notice, please don't think that this or the Sunday review, which is the second point, is just about your schedule. You are reviewing the major parts of your life. You're connecting with them. You're scoring them. You're asking what more you desire there, and what's something simple you can do to improve that area of your life each month. It doesn't have to be huge life transformation, because look, transformation takes time. You might just like this little thing, this thing, but being aware of it, that's important. So the monthly, then the Sunday, and then you have, I know everyone already wrote this in their things and they just know it to be true. You got to win your mornings again and bring intention for, I think, 2 things every day. If we can bring intention for 2 things every day, we win that day. To me, the first one is I'm going to bring the joy to this day. I'm going to choose my attitude. I'm going to develop a mindset that is unshakable, that is joyful, that is, I'm going to be in every room. It doesn't matter if I'm the loudest. I'm going to try to be the most generous and grateful person in that room. I'm just going to bring good energy. Be responsible for the energy you are projecting onto others and into this world. So I think for me, that intention of, I have an intention to have joy each day. I'm going to have some fun. I'm going to make that happen, because sometimes life doesn't do it for you. Yeah. They just doesn't. So I'm going to bring the joy. So that's that's an intention. So what I'm saying is the third discipline is every day you have intentions for feeling life.
Yeah.
For me, feeling life means bring the joy. That's number 1. I'm going to bring the joy. And number 2, I'm going to make a moment with somebody today. Maybe I send them an audio. Maybe it's the way I look at my wife. Maybe it's the thing I call up my mom, and or I send a beautiful appreciation email or text to somebody. But every day, I'm going to bring the joy into the day, and I'm going to make a moment. Because at the end of your life, I learned this, I faced my death twice in my life. You remember these moments and scenes with other people. It's so important to realize that. And so you have to ask, are you going to have enough of those moments and scenes? Are they going to be, at the end of your life, you kind of, if it's true, you see a movie. What are the scenes of that movie going to be? You get to direct that. And I promise the scenes in the movie almost always have these beautiful connections with others. It's like most people don't realize the ending movie of their life is love scenes and connection scenes with other people, where like these like meaningful moments, if you will. Let's just call them meaningful moments. That's what you see at the end, meaningful moments. So if that is true, if it's true, then you have to purposely structure and build in meaningful moments so you love the movie at the end. You know? That you love the movie, that you want to watch the movie again, that you appreciate it. You're going to bust out the good wine and have that good popcorn with that meaningful movie. And so every day, that's mine. I'm going to bring joy to this day, and I'm going to make moments.
Yeah, that's now, so good.
You might have different intentions. Maybe your intention is like, I'm going to do this thing as a mom or as a leader or as a whatever. Doesn't matter to me. But if you don't have the intention, the days just blaze by, nothing. You can be working hard. You can get your schedule down. You can have your calendar prioritized with all the tabs and all the different marker colors and everything else. But if there's no intention for feeling today, you were a good robot today.
Yep.
But you didn't.
And we've all had days like that where we feel like a human doing, right? Not a human being. That's so good, Brendon. That's so good. And a moment, a meaningful moment, can be different for every single person, but how many days do we go through and we forget? And a meaningful moment's free. You know what I mean? And it's like, how many days do we forget to do that? That's so powerful. I love that. So important. I love that.
To me, that's funny that the discipline is to have the intention, right? Yeah. Every day when you have the intention, or every moment or every experience, when you have the intention, it turns out better. Like this morning, we talked about, Jamie and I, before we started, we talked about like, what's the show about today? What's our theme for the week? Our theme for this week is focus and discipline. Our theme for the week, or the month in Growth Day is confidence. And if you're not a Growth Day member yet, please sign up at growthday.com, because last week I taught 2 hours on confidence. Jonathan Fields from the Good Life Project taught, over an hour and a half on confidence. And so did Dave Hollis. And they took questions and did coaching. And upcoming, we've got Mel Robbins, Jenna Kutcher, Jamie, oh my gosh, David Bach is this week. I mean, it's going to be epic, guys. So go to growthday.com because you can get live coaching twice a week with us, and you get the replays for less than $1 a friggin' day for the year. I mean, it's unbelievable. So go to growthday.com. It's my favorite thing. And my favorite thing.
Yeah, it's amazing what you're doing.
My favorite thing.
Glow, Atonmo, Prince EA. There's so many incredible people in there. So super excited.
Anthony coming up. He's
Anthony
just
Trucks.
fire.
I can listen to him all day long.
Like, I know his voice.
I know. It's insane. Like,
okay. We're overtime. I love you guys. Listen, I want to remind you every day, you can choose a new attitude. You can improve. You can take that step. You can show up for your schedule. Just show up. Remember to do the things we talked about today. But remember, you're stronger than you think. Future holds good things for you, and every day is a good day to grow. The number one issue with being productive isn't that people usually don't know what to do with the day. It's that they look at it with dread and they accept that feeling and they stop. They go, I don't wanna. So they stop. Even though if they looked past the immediate dreadful activity and looked into the future about the benefits it would give them, if they could reconnect with that, they could push through. It's that when we get in the short term, just automatic feelings, automatic emotions that come up, those things, when they're not monitored consciously, and sometimes they're not overridden by a higher calling, a higher ambition to serve, a higher mission, then what ends up happening is we go, I'll do it tomorrow. I'll skip this one and, I'll get the workout in tomorrow, and then workout comes tomorrow, I'll get it in next Friday, and then it doesn't come in next Friday, and then I'll get the work in, the work doesn't happen, and we keep telling ourselves these stories, I'll do it when I feel like it. But I hope if one thing you've learned here is the power plant doesn't have energy, you need to generate the energy in which you need to excel and serve in this world. That's what I had to do last night. I had to generate the energy that I need to excel and serve on the stage. I had to make sure that today I felt my best. This is my marathon that I get to do 8 times a year. This is what I train for. This is what keeps me sharp. We all have to have those things in our business or our brands or the things that we're being productive towards that push us, that challenge us. If you don't have 3 or 4 of those each year that are your form of business or productivity marathons, build them back in. Build in challenging expressions for yourself each year. Build them in. We all need our own marathon each year, whether that's a true running marathon or for me, this is it for me. And I got 8 of these a year that I build in that make me sharp. I don't need to do them. The better use of my time would just be doing more videos on the internets, more social media. But this pushes me. This demands excellence from me. When we talk about productivity today, I'm going to say, what is the things that are scheduled for you that demand you be great? Because if you don't have any of those, you'll never be great. You'll just do what's comfortable and easy. You got to have those milestone moments throughout the year in your business. Sometimes that means, okay, that's 3 weeks. I'm going to write my book in that 3 weeks. And you're just gonna gear up for it and you're gonna crush it. Sometimes that means that's when you're gonna launch your thing. Okay, we're gonna gear up and launch that thing. Sometimes that means that's when you do your executive retreat. You pull away all the executives, you meet with them, and that week is just like fire week for you. That's not, I don't mean fire them, I mean fire, But you gotta have those scheduled, otherwise you just go into homeostasis. You just kind of go through the days and go through the motions, and nothing is compelling you to reach and stretch and push. And if you don't have that, I'm telling you, it is hard to live a fully charged life. So you got to approach productivity now in a completely different way. First rule, don't think of productivity as something that you're doing just in a block of time.
think of your life as being a productively fulfilling life. That productivity is not a time management thing, it's a purpose thing. I don't think of time management when I think of productivity. I think of purpose. I think of who do I want to be? What do I want to contribute? What will be fulfilling for me? Because if you don't have something bigger than just blocks of time, which are important, but there's not something that we together are going towards where it's this set of dreams, where there's personal meaning and there is social contribution, we won't go. And you might write that down. You need both things as a mindset for productivity. Personal meaning, meaning you care about it, you like it, it's intrinsically valuable to you. You feel like me doing this is important because I like it, I enjoy it, it's important. That's personal meaning. The other aspect of productivity is social contribution. I have to see what I'm doing is going to matter to somebody. It's going to make a difference. And if we don't look at productivity that way, we'll just be like, it feels like a task. But if we can assign some meaning and social contribution to our tasks, everything can change. But ultimately, those things have to come together in something to be productive for. Like I'm like, what am I productive for? It took me a long time to figure that out for myself based on what I do. What am I productive for? Well, at the personal meaning ways, I'm productive because I want that vibrancy of being a creative human being. I want to be productive because I want to feel like I'm creating and expressing myself. That's the personal meaning for me. I also want to be a productive person because the social contribution. I want to feel that energy and that creativity, but I also want to feel like, you know what, my life mattered. Did I live? Did I love? Did I matter? Did I create some outputs? Did I create something or do something that helped somebody or moved the needle or made a difference or a contribution? The greatest secret of couples married 40 years or longer still reporting to be happy, the number one thing they said was respect. Number two is communication. Respect is a difficult one. Because listen, that last time you were condescending with your spouse, that wasn't respect. The last time you judged their feelings as stupid, that wasn't respect. The last time you interrupted them when they were really trying to share something or explain something, that was not respect. That last time you said you would do something, but you didn't do it, that wasn't respect. We break respect in these subtle little ways so often. So here's a simple scoring mechanism. And again, this might be a punch in the gut for some, but it's so helpful. 1 to 10. 1, you have not been demonstrating respect actively and consciously at all. 10, you actually think about it. How can I demonstrate respect to this person? And you think about it actively and consciously. That's a 10. That's like, wow, you're amazing. Okay? 1, you don't even think about it. You're just going through the motions or being disrespectful. 10, it's like on your agenda to demonstrate respect. I'll give you an example. Sometimes my wife and I will go out and we'll be with a couple or we'll see other people. And I make it a goal. I literally make demonstrating respect to my wife and of my wife a goal. So as we go to sit down, I'm like, okay, we're all together as friends or we're meeting these new people. I'll say, I want them to know that I respect my wife. So I will say things to her or give a level of appreciation to her verbally that people hear and they're like, wow, he really loves his wife. But I'll often use the word literally with her, respect. Honey, I respect how hard you have worked to make an amazing relationship with us. And I'll say that to her in front of other people. Honey, I respect how hard you work. Honey, I respect how caring you are. Honey, I respect and appreciate all the help you give. Honey, I respect how brave you are. I respect how courageous you are. I respect how giving you are. I respect how thoughtful you are. You're the most thoughtful person. Write down the 5 most important people in your life, or 10 or 15, however you want. Write down the most important people in your life and score yourself. Have you been demonstrating respect? 1 is no, 10 is yes. But then what I'll have you do is just scratch out real fast. Just write, what's something you do respect about them that you could communicate and tell them? That's what I mean by that. Like demonstrating respect. I didn't ask you to have respect of them. I said demonstrate it to them. Demonstrate your respect for other people. Demonstrate it. I tell myself this before almost every major meeting I have. I say, respect the people in this room. Respect the people in this room. It's something my dad taught me. Respect other people. So I try to actually verbalize it. I try to communicate it. I try to do things that show it. And if you were one of my friends and you knew me, like none of my friends or none of my family questions whether or not I respect them. Everyone knows it. If you're in my inner circle and I have respect, you know it. You know it. Now here's the issue. The funny thing is this new generation, and when I say new generation, I mean people alive today. I don't mean millennials or Generation X or Y or whatever. I mean, if you're alive today, respect is not a word that's actually used that often. People prefer other words that are easier. And that's nice. And yet, that's why there's no depth in the relationship. You know, there's lots of other things that we could say that we want. You know, even, look, even Odile said, she said, I appreciate better than I respect. I understand that. And that's a good thing. But respect is something that they need demonstrated and said, all people. Like, I understand that might be your approach. Like, I like appreciate, but appreciation is just one form of respect. And I think that we need to put that word back in front of us again. We need to make it a goal. Make that a goal. Make demonstrating respect a goal. So maybe something, what could you do for your spouse or someone that you love to show your respect for them? Or to explain to them that you respect their work, their effort, their values, their heart, their commitment. My wife, she knows I respect her like more than any other person alive. There's no question. There's no lack of respect ever in our relationship, even when we have fights. And we're going to talk about that later, because the number one way to quickly make a conflict be worse is do something so that the other person feels like you don't respect them. When respect is gone, there's almost nothing else you can do. You can placate, you can say nice things, you can write them a gratitude note, but if they don't feel respected, that's trouble. So, how do you demonstrate respect to your spouse? First, you speak respectfully of your spouse to other people in a way that when your spouse can see it. Like, literally say the words, I really respect my wife's heart, her giving, her thoughtfulness, her care. Like, say the words, I respect this person for these reasons. And say it around other people so the person's like, wow, that was so nice of you. That was so kind of you. Also, know how your partner feels disrespected. I'll give you an example here. Like, because it's different, right? The way I feel disrespected is not the same way my wife feels disrespected. Right? For me, I feel disrespected if I am sharing something, I'm right in the middle of like passionate sharing, and someone interrupts something and they interrupt and it's something that's kind of unrelated and it's not like in line with what I'm sharing about passionately. So I feel interrupted and kind of like from a tangent, I feel disrespected. Now, I know many of you are going to say, but Brendon, take it easy, man. You don't have to feel disrespected about that. But that's my immediate impulse. It doesn't mean I freak out about it or go crazy. I'm just saying that to me, it's not a show of respect. Show of respect is cheering it on or jumping in the conversation or aligning with it and like creating something together. Now, for Denise, that's not a big deal to her. She's happy to jump in any conversation. So we have different ways. Another way of respect, as I said before, is absolutely making sure that if you say you're going to do it, you do it. That is integrity. That is congruence. I'm defining it here as respect to your partner. If you promised your partner something, show up. Said you're going to do it, do it. Promise to be there at that time, get there on that time. It's not that we don't all struggle with those things, but you being congruent with what you promise is a real big thing, right? Someone asked, Tara asked, how do you get respect back if you feel that it's been lost? You start, number one, by honoring your commitments. If you say you're going to, like the way to get someone's respect back is be kind and thoughtful towards them and do what you say you're going to do. That's how you get it back. How you win respect from another person, you do what you say you're going to do, you show up when you say you're going to show up, and you're generous, kind, or thoughtful towards them, they will feel respected. Also, the way that people feel respected is to be heard. So learning to reflect back what they are saying to you accurately. And I really work on this one. It's like learning to, like, if Denise says something, I listen to the words with precision of what she says, and I reflect those words back. Not my words, not my take, what she said. Because when people feel, that's big. When people feel like you say, oh yeah, he heard what I said, they feel respected. So you got to work on that one too. And listening to other people, being thoughtful towards other people, doing what you say, all those things are so obvious, and that's why I say make demonstrating respect the goal.
In Tuscany right now and answering you guys' questions as always, but this one was a really good one and perfect for our setting, which was, Brendon, how do you find inspiration? Well, obviously, Tuscany is helping right now. Denise and I are on vacation, part of our summer vacation, and stopping over here, and it's just stunningly gorgeous. But it's a really good topic because, you know, you guys see it all the time, all the content I produce, the podcasts, the 6 different books, the 20 plus online courses. Like, how do you do all that? Well, you have to learn to set up your life for inspiration. Inspiration is not something that hopefully will happen one day and you come up with the greatest idea of your life. You have to consistently put things into your life to generate that level of creativity and inspiration that happens on an ongoing basis, that gives you ongoing breakthroughs. And that's the way I think about it. On this trip, let me share 4 things that we're really thinking about to get inspired. All right, number 1 thing that I think of with inspiration is adventure. Because what we often think about is, I'll just be inspired by, picking up social media and I'll scroll through things and that will help me become more inspired. I'm like, no, that will help you become distracted or become someone who mimics other people. Instead, I think one way to really get inspiration in your life is to break your pattern of routine and do something that is adventurous. So Denise and I, this morning, we went on a big hot air balloon ride, which was spectacular. Yesterday we did something more simple. We took a long bike ride, but kind of adventurous, I would say, here in Tuscany. But we're always trying to figure out, what's something that we can do physically to activate our brain, our body, our breath, our movement, because from that it opens up your brain, opens up new ideas and thoughts. So 1, begin with some type of adventure. Have you scheduled any adventurous things in your life over the next 6-7 months? And if you haven't, then you can't be surprised that you're not having better breakthroughs. Number 2, I would say, to draw inspiration, revisit and learn about history. These places that we're seeing in Tuscany are, 700 years old, 1,000 years old, which is pretty epic, right? And if you think about that, a big piece of learning of life is visiting history. When we were in Florence, we checked out all this amazing locations that, from where Michelangelo and Leonardo and some of the great artists and really standard bearers of culture emerged from, and we learned so much. I just felt like we were constantly learning on that and seeing all this artistry from history. Art history especially is really inspiring to me, and I got all these new ideas of things that I want to create or do based off of that. So I think studying history, I've just also finished another book of the week, and I studied 4 US presidents and how they handled conflict and challenge in really times of crisis. And learning from history has always been something that inspired me to want to be a better artist, but also a better creator and a better leader. There goes Denise. She doesn't know I'm filming, but she's a really huge inspiration for me because she loves all things art and culture, and she's always getting me to work out and take care of myself. And it's kind of like watching a wild animal right now. I feel like I'm a guy on one of those, Discovery Channel things, but that girl right there has been one of the great inspirations of my life. I love you, honey. Look at that. Yes. The grapes. The grapes. Number 3 is people. People should inspire you. And I'm thinking about that because we're in the vineyard right now, and I was thinking how yesterday, was it? Yeah, we did this cooking class, right, with this amazing chef who was so passionate and enthusiastic about Italian cooking. And I'm somebody, as you know, I don't know much about cooking. I think it was my first Italian cooking class. It was amazing. I know nothing about that. It was so inspiring. Afterwards, I said to my wife, I was like, you know what? I loved that. I loved learning from this guy and hearing about him. He was funny, he was a great chef. And even though I'm not a cook, I was inspired to cook. And I think about how critical it is to be around new people with different skill sets than you that help you access different areas of inspiration for yourself. I mean, not just in terms of cooking. It just the way he was teaching made me think about how I teach. The way he prepared things made me think about excellence in preparing things in my own life. And I just think it's so huge for you to get around people who are great and passionate at what they do as much as you possibly can, because you're going to find inspiration there. I know that sounds so basic, but think about how often you hang out with the same 4 or 5 people. You see your family members, you hang out with a couple people, and the unfortunate reality is many people live in a tiny little bubble. And because they live in a tiny little bubble, their thoughts are a tiny little thought bubble. And they're never really breaking the boundaries of their own thinking. They're never accessing higher levels of reasoning because they have no perspective. So get around more people, hang out more with new people who have great skill sets where you can be inspired by both their mastery, their enthusiasm, and their own field of interest. Will you look at this field? Is that gorgeous? I don't know if you guys can see this. It's too bright. Last big idea for you, for inspiration, is journaling. It doesn't sound as sexy as adventure or history and art or hang out with amazing people. But the truth is, you need to give yourself some time to hang out with yourself and actually think about what you want in life. Because isn't it true? You often go on vacation, you see amazing places, and you're like, oh, I'm inspired. Or you sit by the pool, or you sit out, somewhere just having a picnic, or maybe you're at the coffee shop with your journal, and you just write about life. And, I've got my hat on here, Live, Love, Matter. And I think, of how that simple sort of lessons from my car accident, whatever it was, 23 years ago, inspired this whole life that I have. Because after my accident, I sat down, I journaled what I wanted to learn from that experience of my car accident. I wanted to learn to live, I wanted to learn to love more, I wanted to learn to make a difference. And that really came from journaling and just writing about what do you want life to be about? What do you want life to be about? The more consistently you journal and you write, what do you want life to be about? I promise you, my friend, I promise you, you will start feeling more inspired way more often. But you got to do the work. All these things. Planning adventure, you got to do that work. Learning about art and learning about history, got to do the work. I mean, getting yourself around people who are inspiring, enthusiastic, you got to travel those events, do those things, and finally journal every single day about what you really want of life, what your thoughts are, what your feelings and needs and desires and observations are about life, because the more you write and observe about life, the more you are inspired. In Tuscany this morning, and going on our first ever balloon ride, which we're excited about. Still waking up, honestly, but I've heard this is amazing and people talk about it all the time. One thing you have to do when you're traveling is you've got to go on local adventures. Sometimes that means, like today, we go on a balloon ride. Sometimes that means, we go on a bike ride. Sometimes that means we take helicopter tours, wine tastings, go to the best restaurants, have some chef things, or just go to local park and have a picnic. It doesn't have to be fancy, but the whole point of traveling is to get out and about and enjoy life a little bit. So this cute girl and me, that's gonna be our balloon. And there's the morning sunrise coming up in Tuscany. Sunrise on this side. And the sunshine of all sunshines right here. Wasn't that smooth? It just came down so smooth, and then, I mean, I think he landed like right over there, kind of touched the ground really softly, touched it again, and then put a little more air in it and bounced it right onto the back of his trailer in like one smooth dance move. And now they're letting the air out. And that's our balloon adventure. What's up, Team HPX? It's Brendon. I'm back in Puerto Rico and just pumped about shooting this video for you, talking about the 4 secrets to success. And I can tell you, like, these were not easy to learn along my path, but because I grew up in a town that was not near the ocean, because I didn't have a lot of abundance when I grew up, because I struggled a lot throughout my life, the great lessons really came from just a lot of hard work, a lot of study, and a lot of consistency in the contributions I want to make in life. And along that path, I had the blessing of working with and knowing and studying and coaching some of the world's most successful people. And these 4 things always show up in their life. And honestly, I kind of wish I figured this out like 10 years earlier so I could focus on them versus kind of bumbling in dumb, which is what I did. So I hope in sharing my experience with you, you understand how important these 4 things are to your success. Number 1 is competence. Competence. It means you should focus on getting absolutely competent at the skills that matter for your long-term success. Whatever your dream is, think of it, what's your dream? Break it down and say, okay, if that's my dream, what skills would I have to master, really master, to be able to have that dream? Like, for me, as an example, speaking with you right now, I don't know how many of my videos you've watched or whatever, but you know, we've had 250 million video views. And I was mortified to speak. Some of you guys have been in my seminars before, right? 2,000 people, 10,000 people, 30,000 people in an arena. I was mortified. I was terrified to get up and speak in front of people. And so you're like, well, how did you develop that and learn that? Well, I had this dream to make a difference in the world. And I wanted to impact a lot of people in the world. And I said, if I'm actually gonna help a lot of people in the world, I need to learn how to communicate. Because where I grew up, there wasn't a lot of emotional expression or a lot of communication. I mean, if a dude raised his hand in an emotional expression above his waist, it meant he was gonna punch you in the face. That's where I grew up with. I didn't grow up with people being like outwardly expressive and joyous and like facial expressions and moving their hands. I didn't grow up with that. I had to learn, like, how do I communicate and make an impact with people and share what I wanna share? I had to practice that and learn that, but I had to become competent in that if I wanted to make my difference. And I think that's really important. The greats master their skills. Think of any musician you love. They mastered their art, their voice, their instrument. Think about any person you really admire in business. They had to master business building. They had to master the process or the product or the thing. Think about anyone you admire in their health and wellness. They had to master their own body. Think about the happiest people you know. They had to master their mind. How did they do that? They learned. They studied, they studied, they studied. They applied, they applied, they applied. Competence is the thing that we know in high performance gives people the edge. When you are more informed, more educated, more experienced in the things that matter most to your career, you outperform everybody else who's just going through the motions, who's just showing up. But when you're learning in those dark hours of the night, when you are trying when nobody else is watching, and you are developing skill, guess what we know from psychology? That competence and confidence are very correlated. We call it in high performance work the competence-confidence loop, right? The more you learn, the more you're willing to try. And the more you're willing to try, the greater confidence you gain. The more confidence you gain, the more you're willing to try new things, which teaches you even more. So this confidence competence loop is the secret to lifelong success. Keep learning, keep applying, because as you master new skills that matter to the direction of your life, towards your dreams, then you get more confident. As you get more confident, you try new things and you get more success. Number two, and this is really key, a contribution mindset. To not begin the day with me, not to look at your life with, I hope to get this, or I hope to survive. Take your mind off survival, take your mind off getting for yourself, and ask, how can I give, right? It's biblical to ask, and you shall receive. But also, it's ethical to give, and you shall receive. When you change your mindset from getting to giving, when you change your mindset to contribute, when you think about your day, your work, your mission, your life as a way to contribute, instead of going into work to complain about your job, washing dishes, you say, how can I go do this and help contribute to my team, help contribute to somebody else's day, help everyone else who's working in the kitchen, let's all have a great day. Contribute positivity, contribute like energy to the world. Because even if you're not doing great things yet, you can do the little things with greatness if you approach it with the mindset of service. Like the contribution mindset is what always makes the difference. Because think about it. Is it true that some people become really successful, rich, famous, and have everything outwardly that everyone wants, but is still miserable? It's because they're not feeling the satisfaction and the fulfillment of service. They did everything they needed to get something. They became something, but they never felt fulfilled because they didn't utilize that or along the way give and serve others. The contribution mindset can change your life. For me, what I learned along the way too is the third C is about community. And where I grew up, I didn't have a lot of people who were trying to really better themselves. I know and I appreciate you because you're here for your personal development. People watch my videos because they want personal and professional development. And so I appreciate you being here. I call you guys Team HPX. HPX stands for High Performance Experience because I believe that not everybody wants to live the high performance experience. Not everybody wants to reach the next level. Not everybody wants that extraordinary vibrancy and connection and excellence that comes from trying to be your best. But those of you who do, why you're here, my belief about Team HPX, about us, is we've learned we have to build the tribe necessary to succeed and enjoy life. You can't just take the energy and the people that you have in your life. You need to strategically build the people around you to have the community you need to succeed and enjoy life. And often that brings up for people, well, but Brendon, my spouse doesn't support me. People make fun of me. The kids at school don't understand. The people at work shoot down my ideas. And it's not that you have to kick everybody out who's negative. It's not that you have to get rid of all these people, because sometimes that person is your spouse or your brother or your sister or your friend. It's not that you have to get rid of them or judge them in any way. What you can do is limit your time and exposure to them. And even if you can't do that because that's the person who you're in love with right now, what you can do is separately build what you need. In other words, successful people build the community they need. They don't hope to have it. They're not born from it. They don't always have it in their current circle. But what they do is they go build it. So ask, what's your dream? What do you really want to achieve? And what's the type of people you need to be around to have that, experience that, and accelerate towards that? For me, I had to start shaping new friendships. I had to do more networking in my industry to meet new people. I had to get myself around others. I went to seminars and workshops, networking events. I got myself around high achievers. I wasn't born around many of them. I had to get myself around them. And by getting myself in that proximity of a peer group that was positive, ambitious, service-oriented, competent at what they do, it raised my game, right? Other people can really inspire you. So build the community you need. And I think the last thing that I've learned that's so important is that successful people take command of their life. They take command of their thoughts, command of their emotions. They take command of what they're doing during the day. They're less reactive than other people because they say, I'm gonna be the captain of my ship. And that sense of command is the difference maker in their lives. Where most people, they take their circumstances, they blame, they complain, they dread the struggle. People who've taken command of their lives, they honor the struggle. They bring the joy. They decide what their day is going to be about. They work diligently towards their dreams. Instead of being distracted or run by impulse, they are focused and they choose discipline. Like, they have commanded their life at levels most people don't. Because listen, you and I both, anyone can have a bad day and come home and be like, you know what? Bad day, Netflix and chill. And they give up their day or the next 4 hours to tuning out. What I learned about successful people is when it is struggle, when it's easy to be discouraged, when it's easy to go, I guess Netflix and chill, they go, no, man, you know what, you had a bad day. So take command, do something positive for yourself. Take the next 2 hours and create, work, connect, be with the family. Like, they reset themselves consistently. And that's what I mean by command, right? Because we can't control everything, isn't it true? We can't control everything. Some days someone's gonna be a jerk to you. Some days the project's gonna fall apart. Some days it's not gonna go the way that you want. But what successful people do in those moments is they reconnect to their personal power and say, okay, what did I learn? What can I do next? What's my next right action of integrity? They take command of themselves, so they don't let themselves feel sorry for themselves. They take command of themselves, don't let other people tell them exactly what to do. They say, what should I do now? Versus, I guess I'll give up. So these simple ideas, get extremely competent at what you want to succeed at in your life. Learn all the skills around it. Second, adopt that contribution mindset that says, okay, I know what I'm going to do here, and that is give. Give good energy, serve others, take care of others, contribute things that are excellent. Third, build the community that you need. And fourth, take back command of your life. You do these things, and all of a sudden, success won't be secret, it will be strategic. This can be your day for personal growth. This can be that day you committed to and you remember, you go, that was the day I got myself a community. I got better coaches. I committed to making my life the absolute best that I could. This is that day. Make today your growth day. Click the button on this page and sign up right now.